Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mic live on location. Bison Media Day 2024. Later today, this place will be filled with the entire team, other media outlets here. We're here early to get you ready for what should be a busy day. We're going to carry press conferences live today at 1 o'clock, including the gentleman to my left. You'll also hear from head coach Tim Polasek, defensive coordinator Grant Olson, and we'll have a bunch of player interviews live coming up later today. So if you want some Bison football coverage, we got you all set. It's great to see offensive coordinator Jake Landry. Last time we did this, I think you had been on the job for about 2 days, so
that's right.
It's great to see you. First few days of camp are in the books. I'll give you the typical question. How's it gone so far?
Yeah, it's been going great. I'm excited for the guys to get out there. They got after it this summer with Coach Kramer and Coach Napoli, and just to see the excitement that they have coming out in the first couple days, and for us as coaches too. It's an opportunity for the work that the whole program has put in to go out now and put it into action.
What goal for you, I guess, early in camp? What are you looking for just to see the players out there executing what you want to call?
Yeah, I think us as an offense, as a staff, and as a unit, it's getting brilliant at the basics. We segment how we install our offense. Right now we're all in first and second down, and just telling our guys that we want them to be prepared, right, to get the game to slow down. That's the biggest thing for all positions. Quarterback's the biggest one, probably, to get the game to slow down so it doesn't feel so fast and chaotic. But, that comes through our preparations in the meeting room.
I asked you this, I think, in the spring, so I'll ask you again, but the familiarity of having easiness for you of having a 4-year starter quarterback, how much does that help your transition into this role? Yeah,
Cam Miller's been great, and I knew right away coming in that was going to be a big relationship that I had to build with him, and, get to learn him, I think, is the biggest piece. Doing some of our situational stuff, hey, Cam, what do you like here? Here's what I would be thinking. What do you like? To be able to offset and understand what we're both thinking, I think is a big part of our relationship.
There's inherited pressure that comes with being a play caller. You know that from the other stops you've had. It's a different probably level of pressure being the Bison offensive play caller. Tell me about the expectations and knowing the inherent pressure that's going to come on when, if a play doesn't go well on 3rd and 7, the people might be booing at the Fargo Dome about what you called.
That comes with the job, and I understand that. And I think just the biggest thing for me, and I've told the offense this and our offensive staff, is I just care about winning football games. Just walking out of the dome or on the road and getting a W. The stats might not be the best, score might not be the best, but at the end of the day, if we walk out of there knowing we won the football game, then we'll get what we need to get corrected, right, and enhance what went well. But at the end of the day, it's just winning football games.
What is your traits, I ask you about as a play caller?
Yeah, I've always just kind of felt you got to win the line of scrimmage to win football games, and that's been the DNA of Bison offense, and I think it's just a matter of finding creative ways to create explosive plays. And it doesn't have to be creative. Trying to find plays that are 22 yards or how we categorize it is a pass of over 15 and a run of over 10.
Okay.
And trying to find those explosive plays in games. But, talking to the offense and being in a unit meeting, it's being disciplined and not beating ourselves. And I always tell the guys, a smart team's a hard team to beat, and we don't want to beat ourselves.
How difficult is it we want to call this play, maybe it doesn't run, I want to do it again. How difficult is it to stay out of your head of okay, I want to call this play, but maybe we have to adjust to a different one?
Yeah, I think there's
the flexibility, I guess what I'm asking.
Yeah, you got to have the balance, right? And you got to find why the play maybe not have went the way you wanted it to. Maybe somebody fell down. Maybe somebody just missed a block. Maybe the look's there, right? Maybe we had the right coverage for it, and the guy ran the wrong route. There's multiple things, but you can't just move on from a play that, we spend a lot of time as players and coaches of watching film, and you just got to stay true to your game plan, but you also got to be flexible enough that, especially in the first game, you got to be able to be flexible enough to expect the unexpected. Yeah,
especially your first game play calling going with a guy like Travis Hunter. That's quite the challenge of game one as a play caller.
Yeah, they have a good football team, and right now, coach speak, right, we're going to focus on ourselves, right, and we got a lot to get better at, you know what I mean, but once you get into a football game, you got to be able to, especially in the first game, they're going to have a coordinator coming from the NFL, and just being able to find out how they're trying to defend us.
You also are coaching the running backs, and I think that's a an area, not necessarily a question mark for Bison fans, but they're intrigued with Tamarick Williams moving on, what you have in that room with some younger guys. Give us the expectations for the running back room in 2024.
Yeah, right now we're working together as a group. You know what I mean? And we need, right now we got 8 guys in that room, and we need all 8 guys to understand that they could be on the football field at any point. And you don't have time to wait, and you can't think that you have an opportunity to, take time to learn it. And it's just in the meeting room and going back to being prepared and detailed and understanding whether it's a freshman or it's a senior, right, that we all have to be prepared to get out on the football field and be able to execute. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to care when you get out there, right, of maybe you didn't get as many reps as you wanted in practice or, throughout the week.
Marty Brown has grabbed my attention, Jake, during spring ball. He's done it again through the first 3 practices, a redshirt freshman. What talents does he bring to the table to say, boy, we can utilize him on the field this fall? Yeah,
Marty's is a big kid, right? And he gets behind his pads, he runs downhill, and he's explosive. He's really strong in the weight room. Yeah. It's just a matter of, it goes back to kind of what I said, trying to get the game to slow down for Marty a little bit, and through.
Pass protection, a big thing as well for guys to get on the field, that you got to be able to do that, correct?
Without a doubt. Yeah. You got to be an every down back to be able to play, and you can't have to, come off the field because you can't do something, because then you're limited to certain personnels and certain plays, that you got to be an all-encompassing guy, and that's the big challenge for these guys right away is, we're going to install run plays, but we're also installing pass protections and concepts and, just getting the game to slow down and being a student of the game. And I take a great pride in being a good teacher, right, and challenge the guys that you got to be a good student when we're in the meeting room to then go out and apply it on the field. Yep.
What is the challenge of that, knowing the offensive line is fluid as well? Like, you're trying to get the guys hit the right hole, but also knowing you're trying to figure out the right 5 guys up front.
Yeah, for us in the running back room, it's do your job, right? And they're going to do their job. We're going to worry about us, right? And then we have reads, and we've got to execute what we need to, and then we'll correct anything that we need to correct based off of what happens.
Wide receivers, another spot, losing top 2 receivers. Looking at what you have there, what has either impressed you or say, okay, we can count on this guy in 2024?
Raja and Braylon, those guys just love football. Yep. And it's really fun, talking to Coach Crutchley last night, actually, just how fun those 2 guys are to coach, because they just love ball. They love being out here on the grass and getting after it on the field. And, they're the older guy in the room now, and the leadership of taking those younger guys and guys with, special teams experience of now we're going to expect to step into a role. It is exciting to see the competition that's going to happen throughout the next couple of weeks here.
Bryce Lance and Mekhi Collins scream because of their height. How can that be an advantage to you for your quarterbacks to get them the football?
Yeah, making plays, right, vertically down the field, those tight windows, being bigger guys, using their body frames, but it also is going to help us in the run game to be able to get in there and dig guys out and not only is it Mekhi, is it Bryce, Tyler Terhart, you know what I mean? Chris Harris is, excited for me. He wasn't out here in the spring. Now he's out here, so it's just fun to see some of those guys that you haven't seen now out here in the fall.
Is there I always am told of this, the further away you are from the ball, the more chance you have to play as a freshman. When do you start keeping an eye on guys that just got here in June to say, okay, he's performing, that he could potentially help us this year?
Yeah, the best players are going to play, and how much time and effort are they putting into it to learn the offense. And there's been some guys that you notice right away that they're putting in the time and the effort, and just lining up right's a big part of it. You know what I mean? If you line up right, you got a chance. So, I think that just starting from the start, right, and knowing where to line up, and then you got a chance to be able to go out and execute.
How much has life for yourself? You mentioned guys swimming. Has things settled down for you? I know your head was swimming when spring ball was going. Have things settled down for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I just knowing Coach Paulsek for as long as I have, and knowing the relationships of some of the coaches. I think sometimes when you take a new job, you try to feel out people that you're working with on a daily basis, and that was a benefit that I did have getting here, you know what I mean? But you just got to put in the work. You got to get here early, you got to leave late, and you just got to put in the time and the effort to know that you want to be prepared when you get out here.
What was life on the road recruiting as a Bison coach? How different was that for you?
Yeah, it was great. To be able to go out and know when you get into a school that people know where you are, what's been going on in your program and the culture. I think high school coaches really want to pick your brain on what is it like there, what do you do, what makes it special, and I think that's what's really cool. And then, when you're getting in there and you're talking to high school recruits that, there's been a lot of games here that have been played on national TV and just the logo and the power that it holds when you get into a high school.
Guess what's going through your mind that first game? You've called games before. Now at North Dakota State, being back in North Dakota, play caller before that game with Colorado. What do you think is going to be going through your mind?
Yeah, it's going to be an opportunity to go out there and to compete. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting for myself, for our team. But at the end of the day, once the ball kicks off, it's just another game of football. And just calming your nerves prior to getting up in the press box, and know at the end of the day, you've prepared, and you know that the ball's kicked off, and it's just football.
Last thing for you, being out on the road, going back to the recruiting deal, and I was talking with Randy about this, being North Dakota guys and seeing the amount of FBS Power 4 talent now that's in the state. As a North Dakota native, you got to be pumped about that, but also the challenge now of trying to get those guys to stay home is infinitely harder. Correct?
Yeah, you're not wrong. And I think for us right now, we've been really getting after it in recruiting. Really excited about the recruiting class that we have. And talking about the state, it's exciting to go around the state and just realize how passionate Bison fans are. Playing in a golf outing in Belva, I mean, that was unbelievable.
That's a football haven out there to begin with.
It was great, but just the kids grow up going to tailgates and going to games and being a part of it and realizing what this program means to the whole state. It's just been really, I probably can say it's been eye-opening for me to realize from all the way out west to the eastern part of the state and everywhere in between that people want to be a part of the program in any way that they can.
Last thing for you, during fall camp, when do you, in your mind, want to have a good sense of, okay, this is the two deep that we can have on offense in your mind? Yeah,
that's a good question. For right now, for us, we've got some good competition going on at some certain spots up front, on the perimeter. Running back. Where are we going to be able to feel comfortable with the 11 guys that are going to jog out there on the first play, and then developing the depth behind. And I think that's the benefit of doing the double reps that we do, that guys are going to have opportunities to do that. But in terms of a two deep, that's not something that we've talked about right now. Hey, this is the deadline, because I told our guys, you're not going to win a job overnight. It's going to be fluid. The depth chart's going to be fluid. You're going to move up. You're going to move down. But you're just looking for that consistent improvement every day.
As a former player, how difficult for you during fall camp? How much were you in the, like, okay, I want to be here. I want to be the starter with the fall camp. How is it easy to correlate that now as a former player to tell current players that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be patient. Right, and you can't live and die on every rep.
How tough was that for you to be patient as a player?
Well, yeah, when you're younger, you get frustrated for sure. You know what I mean? You want to be at the level that the older guy is,
or you want to know, right? One way or the other.
Yep, and it's just staying true to believing in what we're saying as coaches and what the older guys are saying too. They've been through it multiple times, and just using your resources. You know what I mean? But yeah, everybody goes through that phase, man, where you get frustrated.
When is the part of fall camp you're like, I can't wait for it to be over? When does that hit as a former player?
As a former player, now without the double days and everything like that.
Yeah, you're old school. You did 2 days.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I would say probably at that midpoint, right, where all of a sudden it gets to that point. And you you're in that balance of we started, it feels like a long time ago, and the game's getting closer and closer where, you just got to stay focused.
As a coach, you would want another month, right?
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Or at least an exhibition like the NFL gets, right?
Yeah, you eventually get sick of,
playing against
the same guy every single day, which makes it exciting when you get into game.
Basketball's got it. They got exhibition games. You got to make something happen with football, man. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for the time.
Appreciate it.
We'll check in again during fall camp, okay?
Great.
Jake Landry, NDSU offensive coordinator, joining us here on set. We'll break bottom of the hour. Here we come back. We'll hear from one of the Bison seniors. Defensive end Dylan Hendricks will join us. We roll on Bison Media Day. Hot Mike returns right after this.